Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. I have made it back to the Black Gate with Mithrandir to report on what I've found.
To linger so near to Anglach is unwise.
I saw a group of treasure seekers returning from Udun, so I know that you did your duty and compelled them to return. They do not value their lives as greatly as they value their treasure. If they continue to use this course of action, they will soon have neither. Treasure makes fools of all men. To linger so near the mines and foundries of Anglach is unwise, for these seekers of treasure, or indeed for any, who can say what foul work has undertaken for Sauron at Anglach, or what terrible craft was done there in the name of his war? You mean such as the making of Grond and all of that? Oh, hold on. Someone laughing? Oh, Eorzan, what are you laughing about?
He fancies himself a wizard, does he? Eorzan knows about wizards.
Yes, Eorzan knows about wizards and wants nothing to do with them. They are not as wise as they claim to be, nor as impartial. He says, "I know what was made at Anglach." But that is already not right, for I know well the great ram Grond was made here, and wreathed about it with spells. I saw it destroy the gates of the tall city myself, and if things had gone otherwise, there would have been no stopping it. Yes, I was at the war councils, and I heard the plans for Grond. Can this so-called wizard claim that? No, he cannot. It was a matter of pride for me, Eorzan included. But now I have been replaced. Replaced by Ortakul, no doubt. He will not last. That, at least, is cause for comfort. Well then. Yep, Grond was made there.
He is impudent, and he is impolite, and he is abrasive.
Anything else you could describe him as? But he may also be useful. I've had an idea. Oh, does that involve getting a pendant here? A little bit more light. Maybe someday I can get to 20 so that I can.
Mordor has been closed to the eyes of Gondor for more than 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's a pretty long time. It has been closed to us ever since the fall of Durthan and the expulsion of the Thranduil. More like the slaughter of the Thranduil, but that's an entirely different matter. What transpired beneath the shroud of Gorgoroth remains unknown to us, and it brewed a bitter crop of rumor and worry and fear. That was in aid of Sauron's plans, as ever, for he knew the uses of fear far better than any creature in this Middle-earth. But we have one in our keeping who witnessed the last days of the War of the Ring from the other side. Eorzan walked in Mordor when the peoples of Gondor, and indeed of all Middle-earth, could not pass the bounds of that land. What did he see? What does he know? He claims he was involved in high councils of war. Perhaps that's true, and perhaps it is not. But there is no question that he may have knowledge of Sauron's lieutenants that we simply do not. Can he be forgiven of his crimes? If he can be so forgiven, he might be given a new life in Gondor in exchange for the information he possesses about Mordor and the power structures of the Black Land after the downfall of Sauron. Speak with Aragorn. It must be he who will forgive Eorzan of these crimes, if any will. Well, in this case, wouldn't Lesar be a better title? And
Mordor has been closed to the eyes of Gondor for more than 1,000 years.
yes, Hello there. Gandalf has an idea.
I have considered making a place in Gondor for the Nonhoth, but does Eorzen merit the same treatment?
Yes, I've already been approached about making a place for the Nornhoth in Gondor, for their enslavement in Mordor has stirred the hearts of the folk who freed them. I do not know if Eorzen merits the same treatment, Pineleaf. The Nirnhoth were cruelly mistreated by the overlords of Udun and elsewhere. Freedom was just a distant, half-remembered tale to them. But Eorzen led armies against us. He commanded his people to fight during the war, and many good men died on the Kundalar blades before the White City. This is not an easy choice to make. The words of Mithrandir have not oft led me astray, Pineleaf. Eorzen will be given a new start in Gondor, in return for the knowledge he can give us of Mordor. Speak to the wagon driver Rothnor and arrange for Eorzen's passage into the city. Alright, I will speak to the wagon driver. Ah, here he is. Hello there. Looks like you're going to have an extra passenger.
What's that? Another fellow needs passage back to the city.
Aye, I'll accommodate him. There won't be much room, but I've got a little more space for folk who are far willing to sit close. All right. Well, now, let's see what Eorzen thinks about all this, since I'm sure he also needs to be consulted on the matter.
What is it?
How grand, Pineleaf! An offer of pardon from Gondor? Pah! I spit on this offer! I am not interested in the charity of this king. I have not yet decided which side in this contest would be the victor. Why then will I ally myself with any of you? I have seen nothing to prove that Gondor will triumph in the days to come. But I know of many dangers that lurk still in Gorgoroth, waiting. Your people have brought Nirnhoth through the Black Lands and freed them from captivity, yes? I have an exercise for you. Speak these names to them, and ask yourself why I would side with Gondor when there are foes in Gorgoroth such as those still alive. Still alive, still active, and still angry. Speak the names Dugabeth. Speak the name Ugrachor. Well, I've heard of Ugrachor at least. And speak the name of Urudani. Does Gondor possess such terrors as these? I think it does not. Well, I suspect that Gondor does not include such terrors. Well, what do these Nirnhoth have to say about these names? Let's begin with Huja here.
Ugrukor knows no mercy. He delights in death.
Well, so he delights in death. Well, based on what I've heard about Ugrachor, that sounds fairly accurate. Ugrachor's face is terribly scarred, but not always. They say Sauron punished him for something. Held him to the fire. Alright, so the name of Ugrachor certainly does not delight there.
You should not speak of Urudani.
Uridani. They say that if you speak her name, she hears it and will come. Her kiss is death. Her embrace torment. Have we not suffered enough? Let the Stone Maiden slumber, and awaken her not. Alright, so Uridani is definitely not a friendly person. Well, what about this third one?
He was the mouth of Sauron. Vile knights rode at his command.
They plucked me from my village by the sea and marched me long leagues into Udun, where I was put to work at the forges. I only saw the mouth once from afar, but he was too busy with Sauron's errands to spend time tormenting the Nirnhoth. But Sauron is gone, and if the mouth had a leash, it is now off of him. We should not be speaking of him here, so close to Mordor. It will bring ill fortune. Speak no more of him. Alright, so Dagobeth, the mouth of Sauron. Alright, so we have the mouth of Sauron, we have Ugarkor, who had a lot to do with Durthang, and we've got the Stone Maiden, who I haven't heard of before.
Do you see? Sauron may be gone, but his servants were many.
Yes, and these servants were beings of power and terror. I have not seen anything of Gondor that can hope to stand against even these three, and that is not the full extent of his lieutenants. And so I've become Eorzin the Unwilling, and refuse this so-called king's offer of pardon. I will remain between the realms until I taste which way the wind blows, Pineleaf. Right now, that breeze is rank, and it comes from Gorgoroth. Whew, well. He's not in the mood for accepting deals.
I believe Eorzin will still be useful to us.
Indeed, Eorzin has already been useful, for I think the artifact that he stole from Durthang can be made to serve our purposes. And further, he has given us the idea that the evils that wait within Gorgoroth, the shadow that hangs in Mordor, is too deep for you to pierce it without powerful help. But pierce it you must if you are to combat the villains of whom he spoke. Ooh?
The artifact Eorzin stole from the vault of Durthang bears a powerful corruption.
Yes, the artifact is not made in the land of Mordor, though. It came from elsewhere, and the corruption that envelops it stems from its long stay in the Black Land. If this evil were to be cleansed, I believe that Elrond could imbue it with the power and vital force for good. Before that can happen, however, we must do something about the corruption that Mordor has worked upon it. There are different methods to accomplish this, though the wise disagree upon the effectiveness of each. My preferred means to such a cure is to bring the corrupted item to the place where it was made, or to places of some significance upon its path, and to thereby diffuse the foul touch of Mordor has on it. We must learn the story of this heirloom before it came to Mordor. There is a slight depression here at Pineleaf, but it has been worn smooth by the passage of time, and the edges are difficult to discover. Even so, I can feel enough of the indentation to state with certainty that it was once in the shape of a star with 5 points. To my mind, that marks the badge of having once belonged to the guard of the High King Elendil, perhaps at Numenus, the seat of power in the north. You're sending me to Numenus. That's right. Bring this artifact to Numenus and see if you can cleanse the corruption that now encircles it. Tachiron of the Dunedain has returned to Anuminus to keep the peace there and may be able to help you. Alright. Fine. Fine. To Anuminus. Hello again, Tachiron. It is good to see you again, my friend. The life of a warden is never uneventful, for there are always good folk that need defending. How many minutes of celebration did you have before Aragorn began to worry that the folk of his kingdom would still not be secure from threat? 2? 3? Ours is a life of service, Pineleaf, and I would have it no other way. I never had the patience for tending crops or raising animals, but I could stand in a spear line opposed to evil for days without complaint. But what brings you hither? Yes, I have seen medals similar to this in my old city. They were worn by the soldiers of Elendil and serve as identification of his guards. But I can't say that I have seen one exactly like this, for there are some curious markings beneath the depression here. One familiar with the workings of the soldiery could easily have missed this. Several of my fellow rangers are on patrol throughout the city. Bring it to Lyneth, Carastir, and Gwiniel in Anuminus, and see if the Steadfast Sisters have any badges identical to this. Alright, fine. Find the Steadfast Sisters. Let's see. Lyneth and Carastir. Hello there. Lyneth, I was wondering if you could identify this. What have you brought to this city? I sensed the evil in it even before you approached. This is the type of metal that was worn by defenders of the city at the height of its glory, but it has become encircled by darkness. That is a cruel hurt, but it is a common one these days. Where fell forces take things of beauty and nobility and bring them low. That all happen frequently makes it no less of an insult to me. If we could read these symbols, we might know where guards wearing this badge were stationed, but I'm unable to make sense of them. Perhaps one of my sisters could tell you more. We pride ourselves on our patience, but that patience does not always extend to remaining in each other's company. You will find Carastir and Gwiniel elsewhere, but still within the city. Alright, so let's go to Carastir next. Ah, here's Carastir. What's that? You have brought evil here, as if this city has not seen enough darkness in recent months. Explain yourself! Is that some artifact of shadow? Scions of Angmar still hope to bring that evil kingdom once more into prominence, and we still stand against them. I've never seen one exactly like this. My advice for you is to destroy it. This might once have been an heirloom of the beautiful kingdom, a kingdom I am sworn to honor and cherish, but now it's fallen to evil, and is a reminder of our failures. Ooh, boy, she is. Beasts are drawn to us. Oh, and now. Hello. Beasts. Big beasts. Terrible beasts. Hill beasts. Well, at least I came to this at the right level. And now for you. Oh, a bit lacerated though. Everything alright? It says snow beast. They look more like hill beasts than snow beasts. Well fought! I would expect no less from a warden. Well then, let's now find Gwiniel. I hope Gwiniel doesn't decide to toss me into the lake or something like that. Ah, we're well met, Pineleaf. What brings you to the City of Kings? Uh-huh. This badge is held in the grip of a powerful evil, but I can recognize that it was once worn proudly by the defenders of the High King in this very city. Did you show it to my sisters? Yes, I could imagine their responses. Mine, however, may be more practical. I cannot tell you where it might have been worn, but Illuminus has long had a problem with looters. If the defenders of the city cannot identify these markings, perhaps a tomb robber can tell you where it has looted badges with similar markings. They have a camp in Rantos, the island of Lake Evening, and may be able to tell you what we cannot. Rantos. There's still looters down there? And I thought I took care of them. I see this going well. Hello there. I was wondering if you could help me to identify this.
What do you need?
You here to pinch some of my loot? Iron nay, and answer quickly, or I'll stick you with my best knife and bury you in the surf, shallow like. I've seen badges like this one, plenty of 'em, all around the bridge those dirty ruffians called Ariat. Are you saying these are worth something? I could give this one back to you, it's true, and let you make a tidy profit. Yes, that's one option. Uh-huh. Or maybe I'll just kill you and take it myself. All right. Whatever. Well then, somewhere near that bridge. And that's what we'll investigate in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.